All right, guys, so just to put things into perspective, the first album I ever bought was Decade of Decadence. I bought it in 93. I thought it was amazing, but it was a 94 album, Motley Crue, self-titled, that just blew me away, turned me on to their whole catalog. And, it's crazy is I never got to see that album live. I almost did. I didn't get a chance to. It would be 10 years later until I saw the Crue in 05 in Tampa at the Forum. But I've been a huge Crue head my whole life. And when I heard that Mick Mars quit the band, I knew it was bullshit. And when I watched Crabby's interview, it made all the sense in the world. Nikki Sixx blocked me like 10 years ago, only because I went on his Twitter and I said, look, man, the 94 albums would turn me on to Motley Crue. It really made me a Crue head. That was a fantastic album. There was no filler. Every single song was amazing. And Crabby deserves credit. And that album is like, they never play it live. They, distance themselves from it. And then lately they've been talking shit about Crabby. And so I just, for Nikki Sixx to block me, I thought it was like extremely, extremely lame. And look, he's a power-aholic. He's like the Paul Stanley of Motley Crue. You know what I mean? Only Kiss has got Paul and Gene. Motley only has Nikki. And Mick Mars has been the only constant member of that band. More constant than even Nikki Sixx, because Mick did not have Brides of Destruction. So, given the fact that Mick is older, given the fact that he's got an illness, given the fact that he's never, ever, ever left Motley Crue, you'd have thought that maybe if he stood up to Nikki and Tommy to save Vince, so that Vince wouldn't get fired for a second time, because we all saw how successful that was back in 92. As much as I loved the 94 album, it was a commercial failure. And the only person that had to blame was Nikki. Nikki's the only person that ever makes any decisions for that band. And so honestly, maybe Mick said, look, we're not spring chickens anymore. We've sold the catalog. Let's do one last tour worldwide. Let's not fire Vince. And if he got fired as a result of that, I would not be surprised, because nobody steps up to Nikki Sixx. Nobody. And if that's the case, then, Vince's days are numbered as well. And I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past them. Like, Nikki Sixx will do whatever the hell he wants to do. And he will tour alone if he has to. He owns Motley Crue. This isn't like a Rat situation, a Dawkins situation before Don bought all the rights. This is, if Nikki wants to go out there by himself with John 5 and, some random drummer and some random singer and call it Motley Crue, Vince, Mick, and Tommy have got to eat crow, because they don't have a leg to stand on. I really think Nikki could do that. And it's just ironic that he's got Tommy in there, because he badmouthed Tommy for years with his Methods of Mayhem. Even when he got the gold record, he said the only reason he got that was because people were buying his CD for a penny on BMG. Nikki does not like competition, and I would not have been surprised in the least if Mick double talked or stood out to him, or even maybe just offered an alternative, that would have been enough for Mick to get canned. And I still think John's point is very, very powerful. We have still not heard from Mick Mars, and even though he's a quiet one, he's never been short for words. If he wants to express himself, he will. Even when they signed that bullshit contract where they couldn't record together or tour together again, what did Mick do? He put out a solo, and he had Crabby singing. And out of nowhere, Motley Camp, a.k.a. Nikki, in my opinion, put an end to that, and pretty quickly. A guy that, wants to retire and ride off into the sunset does not put together a solo project on the fly. I don't for a second believe that Mick Mars is done playing guitar and is done creating. I think that maybe he probably, under duress, had to sign some kind of a gag order, had to give up his rights, meaning he can't do a solo, he can't tour, and he certainly can't talk about his departure if he ever expects to see any money from Motley Crue again. I could totally see someone like Nikki Sixx putting something like that together.